Welcome, everyone, to our Bountiful City Council work session. It's not often that we pack the chamber with a crowd that feels like it's fairly happy and excited. Usually if it's packed, they're less happy and less excited. So we are excited to see and welcome all of you tonight for an induction of our new school year Bountiful City Youth Council. We wanted to invite all of you to do your swearing in with us this year, set a little bit of a new tradition. So welcome to the council chamber and to this process. By the end of the night, you will all be sworn in as official members of the Bountiful City Youth Council. I am going to turn some time over to Council Member Matt Murray, who serves as the liaison from the City Council to the Youth Council, to talk just a little bit about the mission of the Youth Council and introduce the advisors. For some of you, I know that this is, you've been involved with the Youth Council for several years at this point. For some of you, I know this is your first year. For some of you parents, this will be your first go around. So we're going to let you know a little bit about what you're in for. So, Councilor Murray, if you'll take it away for us.
I don't know if I'll be good at what you're in for, but thank you. I wrote some stuff down because I tend to ramble and I want to keep this efficient. So bear with me a little bit. I've lived in Bountiful for a long time, long enough to have watched more than just one group of these young leaders grow up, graduate, and move on to build lives of their own, and some of them stay right here in Bountiful. Every single year, I'm struck by the same thing. There is no shortage of good kids in the city willing to give up their time for something bigger than themselves. For anyone who hasn't spent much time around the Youth Council, here is what you should know. It's not just a title on a resume. The BCYC run real events. For Bountiful City, they put on the Bountiful Hop every spring. If you have never participated in that, it's the best 5 minutes ever. They spend hours putting out eggs, and as soon as you say go, the kids have those eggs picked up pretty fast. They run the pumpkin patch every fall. They're out there in the handcart day parade carrying the flag. And more often than not, if there's a service project happening around the city, you'll find a few BCYC members in the middle of it. They learn how meetings actually work. They learn how to write a budget. They learn how to stand up in front of adults and speak their mind respectfully. I don't think that happens without good adults standing behind them. I want to say a real thank you to John and Taylor Cook. Being advisors to this group means a lot of early evenings and a lot of patience, showing up to every meeting, every parade, every project, making sure that these young leaders have what they need to succeed. That's not a small commitment, and it's not one that gets talked about enough. John and Taylor, this city is better because the two of you keep showing up for our youth. So thank you for doing that, and always bringing your daughters with you. That's always fun. I can't wait to see what kind of leaders they are after spending summers with you. And to the BCYC members being sworn in tonight, I want to say, it makes us all feel good to see young people who care about our community enough to actually show up and serve in it. It would be easy at your age to spend your time on just about anything else. Instead, you're here and you're about to take on some real responsibility for this city. And that's something that says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the families and the community that raised you. So congratulations. We're grateful to have you, and we can't wait to see what you pull off this next year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. So I'll just echo Councilmember's comments. I have spent a lot of the past year engaged in efforts as part of our America 250 efforts here in Bountiful. And every time we were putting on an event with a group, in the early planning, it was, do you think we can get the Youth Council to come help? We need some young backs and strong people to come help us with whatever the setup or the takedown was. So there are many in our community who recognize that you guys are a very important glue to putting on events. And then, of course, John and Taylor, who just do an amazing job as the advisors. Just cannot say enough good about any event that is happening involves the Youth Council. Any event that's happening involves John and Taylor, and so we very much appreciate collectively this group helping us do so many of the events that help us in that engagement with community and that building of how people feel about Bountiful. Next, I wanted to invite Johnny Alley, who is going to be this year's BCYC mayor, to say a few words to set the tone for this year's group of youth. So, Johnny, we'll invite you to the podium.
I guess, okay, you guys are just going to have to look at the back of me, but we'll address the city council. So to everyone, thank you so much for coming. As has been said, my name is Johnny Alley. This is my 4th year in BCYC, and I'll be serving as the mayor this year. When I joined the Bountiful City Youth Council 4 years ago, I really had no idea what was going on. I was a tiny freshman that had no idea where City Hall was, and I was really intimidated by this elite group of people who seemed to know how everything worked. I'd walk down to our meetings down in the basement and see the secretive leadership meeting between the officers and the advisors wrapping up through the glass windows in the hallway. Little could I have imagined the inspiration I would find for public service from this council. What started as a point on a resume and a few volunteer hours has become a community to me, a group of 60 friends from Bountiful who want to make the city better, just like me. For several years, I thought I was destined for a career in the medical field. You can't go wrong with a stable career centered around helping others, I thought. But as I saw firsthand the city facilities that work around the clock to serve the people of Bountiful, as I walked the halls of the state capitol at our annual day at the legislature, I found there's something more I can do than picking a career and just calling it good. We can give back and create the future we want to see through organizations like BCYC. Getting involved in local government, being civically engaged, and deciding to change what you don't like is how you really make an impact. I hope you can all find some of that inspiration that I did throughout the next year of BCYC. Congratulations to all of you for making the choice to involve yourself and be a part of the next chapter of the City of Bountiful. We have many returning members and also quite a few new ones. So what can you expect from BCYC this year? As always, I'm proud to announce that we will be holding our traditional citywide events of the Pumpkin Patch in the fall and the Bunny Hop in the spring. These free, family-centered activities are a staple of the Youth Council and the city. Of course, we will continue our long-standing tradition of making Bountiful beautiful through graffiti cleanups and volunteer work. And we can't forget our help in feeding the city with hours at the food pantry and our Thanksgiving food drive. By giving up 1 hour every other week throughout the year, you all take ownership of the place that you call home. In 1787, at the close of the Constitutional Convention, at which the founding document of our nation was drafted, a woman asked Benjamin Franklin what kind of government the United States would have. His response, a republic, if you can keep it. We've kept it for 250 years. Can we keep it for another 250? The answer is in this room. Whether or not we keep our republic for the decades to come lies with us. Those who show up are the ones who shape our tomorrow. Thank you to Mayor Bradshaw and the City Council for continuing to support us. Neither we or the city would exist without them. I'm looking forward to an amazing year with all of you, a year of new friendships and a stronger community of youth than we've ever seen. God bless the City of Bountiful, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. We've been able to get to know Johnny as a city council for the last several years, and have watched him grow in terms of his leadership and his public engagement. And I always feel really great about the fact that at some point it will no longer be my privilege to sit in this seat and make these decisions, and all of us will move on to other things, because we've got a great generation coming up that will be able to take on these roles and care for this place that we all call home. So with that, we're going to now introduce John and Taylor Cook, who are going to introduce this year's Bountiful City Youth Council, so that we can get to know all of you and which schools you go to. So we'll turn the time over to you.
All right.
We'll allow.
Hello, I'm Taylor. Sorry, you have to look at my backs. I have our big long list of youth who are in our council. Bountiful City Youth Council is one of the largest in Utah. And I'm really proud of that because no youth should be excluded from being involved. And so I'm grateful all of you are here and have decided to apply and to join us in serving the community. Okay. This is in alphabetical order by first name. I apologize if it gets a little boring, but it won't be boring. You'll hear your name. Okay. Abby Gibson, 11th grade from Bountiful High School. Abigail Lee, in 9th grade from Mueller Park Junior High. Amelia Higginson, in 10th grade from Bountiful High School.
Taylor, I'm wondering if we can ask the kids to stand as their names are read so we can associate names and grades.
Yes.
Would that be okay?
Abby Gibson.
Or we can even ask them to come so they'll be ready for the swearing in, actually, if they want to come and stand as their names are called.
Great idea.
Would that work?
Yep.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, we'll start over. Abby Gibson, 11th grade, Bountiful High School. Is not here. Okay. Abigail Lee, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Okay, Amelia Higginson, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Amelia Rose, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Ammon Joshua Rodaba, 9th grade, Mill Creek Junior High. Andalyn Higley, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Aspen Christensen, 9th grade, Mill Creek Junior High. Austin Rose, 9th grade, Mill Creek. By the way, we have so many 9th graders. It's awesome. Ava Anderson, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Ben Sorensen, 11th grade, Bountiful High School. Bradley Vandenberg, 9th grade, South Davis Junior High. Brinley Farr, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Brenna Butters, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Callan Shirley, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Caroline Long, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Charlotte Stagg, 11th grade, Bountiful High School. Chase Moulton, 12th grade, Woods Cross High School. Creighton Farr, 11th grade, Woods Cross High School. Damie Lefevre, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Eliza Hodgkinson, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Elizabeth Christensen, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Ellie Showalter, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Gabby Harmer, 11th grade, Woods Cross High School. Haven Curl, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Henry Long, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Jack Barton, 10th grade, Woods Cross High School. Chris Barton, 12th grade, Woods Cross High School. Jeffrey Thuriet, Jeffrey Thuriet, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Johnny Alley, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Caitlin Frost, 11th grade, Viewmont High School. Callie Page, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Liam Shields, 9th grade, Mill Creek Junior High School. Lily Larson, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Lizzie Smoot, 9th grade, Mill Creek Junior High. Lorley Bates, 11th grade, Viewmont High School. Lucy Derrick, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Luke Stewart, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Maddox Nelson, 10th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Mariella Malbasic, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Max Anderson, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Maya Brown, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Quincy Holt, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Raquel Tanner, 11th grade, Woods Cross High School. Rebecca Reiser, 11th grade, Bountiful High School. Ryan Freebairn, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Sadie Young, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Sadie Holzer, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. Shaylin Ledesma, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Stockton Showalter, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Tally Showalter, 10th grade, Bountiful High School. Taylor Dolan, 10th grade, Mill Creek Junior High. That's not right. There's no 10th grade at Mill Creek. Taylor, where do you go to school? Bountiful High School. Theo Holt, 12th grade, Bountiful High School. Trevor Fouts, 9th grade, Mueller Park Junior High. And then Tyler Freebairn, 11th grade, Woods Cross High School.
Did we miss anyone? It's possible.
That's okay. Elsie Davis, what grade are you in? And what school? 11th grade, Woods Cross High School. Did we miss anyone else?
Yeah, I'm the one who did the Google sheet, so it's definitely possible I missed a name. If we're missing anyone, stand up. Okay.
And who are you? Stockton Showalter has shown up. Just kidding.
Well, this is quite a big group. We are so excited. I'm now going to ask our city recorder, Sophia Ward, if she will come up to the podium so that she can ask you all to take the oath of office.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for being here. So you're going to raise your right hand and repeat after me as soon as I pause, okay? All right. I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Okay, congratulations, you guys are sworn in.
Okay, we are going to ask everyone to stay. Council, I'm going to ask you to scoot in and stand up so that we can get a picture with our new youth council, and our city recorder is going to take it for us. Yeah, we might have to tiptoe.
Alrighty. Smile big.
Okay, there might be a few parent pictures. Hold. I see some of your moms who got cameras. Give them a minute, especially you that are seniors. Let them have it.
Share the good one, please.
Okay. It looks like we've concluded all the work with the cameras. You guys have all now taken your oath of office, so we expect big and good things. I know that you're going to be heading down for some of your orientation and first planning discussions down to the basement. Welcome to being part of Team Bountiful. We look forward to seeing and interacting with you. You're always welcome to interact with the council. We invite you to attend our meetings, to ask us questions about the process, and I know that your advisors, as well as Councilmember Murray, will be thinking of ways that we can engage with you so that you can see how this all works from our perspective, so that someday in a few years, you're ready to be on this side of the dais. Thank you, and welcome to the team.
All of the youth council will go downstairs now.
Of course.
And he's vice. And I'm
What are you,
Secretary of
vice?
State.
Yeah, well, yeah, you'll have to win with me.
For the remaining part of our audience, we are going to be, as part of our work session, discussing project prioritization. And so we'll give our youth council members just a few minutes to make their way to their meeting. And then we will turn time over to our city manager to kick off this portion of our discussion. We'll just give him a few more minutes to enjoy getting some pictures and head downstairs. Okay, Gary, I think we're ready to turn things over to you. So we'll take it away.
Thanks, Mayor and members of the council. If you had a chance to read the staff report, the purpose of this conversation is to have the council help us make sure that our priorities for capital projects for the next 3 years are in the right order. We would love to be able to say that everything that's been budgeted is something that we can pull off, but with the resources that we have, I think an honest look at what we have in the budget, we don't have the resources to complete all of the projects. And so what we've tried to do is list the projects in categories that for the next 3 years that we think represent your priorities and staff's priorities. Category 1 being things that we understand need to be done and will be done. The second category would be things that are high priorities and we have every intention of completing. And in the third category, those would be projects that if we have time and resources, we'd like to get to, but an honest evaluation at this point in time would suggest that we can't. So tonight, what we want to do is at least start the conversation by walking through with you what all of these projects are, and many you'll be familiar with, but I'm not sure that we've ever seen them in one place together, and the list is a little daunting. And then have you help us prioritize to make sure we have things in the right place. These are just the capital projects, so it probably goes without saying, but this doesn't include any of the what I would call day-to-day work that the departments are doing. So building department, engineering department, for example, is heavily involved in nearly all these projects. Doesn't include people that are coming in with questions or plans. Doesn't include when we have to drop everything because there's been an accident on Main Street and we have to convene the traffic safety committee to look at projects or things like that. So, so there's, as you can understand, there has to be a certain amount of capacity left over in addition to doing these projects to do the rest of the ongoing work that the city needs the departments to do. So what we're going to do is briefly...
One structural organizational question.
Mm-hmm.
You may have been getting to this. Are the projects listed, say in column 1, the must complete, in a priority order or a random order?
Random.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and basically what we're saying is we know we can commit to completing everything that's in column 1. We believe we can also do what's in column 2, and we hope to be able to do what's in column 3.
So for columns 2 and 3, because they're the may complete and the may not, are those in a priority order, or should we suggest priorities if since those are less certain columns, or is that something that would be helpful?
Yeah, so in the individual years they're not listed in priority because they're different departments. The storm drain project, for example, at the top of column 2 in 2027 would be engineering and streets, whereas the cemetery healing garden would be parks with some help from engineering. So those aren't listed in priorities, but if you do want to move something, say, from a category 3 to a category 2 or a category 2 to a 1, then we're probably going to have to move something out of that category to have capacity to do it.
Okay, thanks. I think that will just be helpful in understanding the list ahead of us.
And just to show, so that's 2027. Here's 2028, which wouldn't include anything that's not completed in which does not currently include anything that's not completed in 2027. So those would naturally fall down to 2028 or later, and then here's 2029. So we're going to try and as expeditiously as we can give you an idea of what all these projects are or remind you. And we're going to just start with the must completes on column 1. And Lloyd, just tell them where we're at, and I'll try and have the cursor keep up with those explanations.
Okay, our Maple Ridge Drive slope stabilization is a retaining wall installation similar to what we did on Mueller Park Road about a year ago, where we have a shallow slope failure. Our Main Street bulb outs and improvements is in the scoping phase, and we're working with Parks and Power to determine, some budget level estimates and to get a handle on what that project looks like.
Did you mention 800 East? Did I miss that?
I did not. 800 East is a street reconstruction project. We're planning on doing about half of that from 5th South to Center Street, since we have storm drain already in that section. It's pretty much ready to go.
Lloyd, can I interrupt you for just a quick second? As we go, I think it'd be good maybe for council for you to know which of these projects also we're designing ourselves and which ones are underway. Because some of these are already started either in the design phase or something. So Maple Ridge Drive.
Maple Ridge Drive, you'll see on the agenda tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. It'll be on the agenda here in a couple of weeks for award, and we expect to build that starting this fall. 8th East will design in-house. The scoping for Main Street we're doing in-house. Mill Creek Reservoir, you're familiar with that project, and we just completed the grant application through the EPA. The reservoir structure itself is already designed. We just need to work on the site plan and complete the other requirements for EPA funding. Our Orchard Drive study is coming up. We know that that's an important topic for the council, and that's probably something we'll ask for consultant help on, but we need to be able to understand the scope of that first. The stormwater basin at the landfill is an in-house project for the grading and of the basin itself. You just awarded a storm drain contract that included the pipe work for that project, so we'll be working on that this fall. Turn it over to Brock for irrigation.
Yeah, the irrigation controller, you probably heard that come up quite often in conversations we've previously had. That's switching our irrigation controllers over to internet-based programming where we can access those from our smartphones and our laptops and our computers. We fully expect that we'll have the parks only done this year, and then move on to maybe assessing what other properties are, worthy of a $2,500 controller. So we're confident we'll get through the parks this year. Ice ribbon lighting control panel, that's underway currently. We have a electrician that's going to help us bring in a lighting control professional to give us ideas about that.
Counselor, do you know what's happening there? Maybe you can give a quick update, Brock, on what the issue is.
Yeah, sure. These lights primarily are around the ice ribbon, and they're the colored lights that are controlled from a panel that the rec center uses, and they can change the colors, they can make them dance, they can make them rotate, they can make them do certain things. The last season, it came to a head where they were not able to do that. Also, the brightness and the dimming of those lights is not non-functioning. It's a control panel issue, and it may come down to replacing that panel. So that's already underway. We anticipate that'll be done here in the next couple months in preparation for this season.
We've really struggled. Last year, the rec district had to bring in generator lights to have enough light on the ribbon. And the contractor that put it in doesn't exist anymore, or at least the design company. They're so we've had a real struggle trying to find anybody, thanks to Power, who helped us come and diagnose it this year, but we're working forward on that.
It's a proprietary system too. That's the other problem. We can't find a manufacturer that is this system, so we don't know how to fix it. We don't know how to control it, and that's why we're bringing in a professional.
Could I ask a quick question about those lights?
Sure.
Does this extend to the parking lot as well?
No, that's another. We've had those little bollards run over several times, so that's a wiring issue that we've been fighting for several months now.
That parking lot gets quite dark.
Yeah.
And the pathway around the ice ribbon, does this include that on the west side between the parking lot and the ice ribbon?
I don't believe so. I think those are all on a different control panel.
Yeah.
But
okay, just it's really dark on that side.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway. Those are all part of that same parking lot west bollard system.
Thank you.
The Echo Hydro, that's the controls package. You may recall last year we just completed the Pineview controls package. That was with one turbine. Echo has 3 turbines, and it's the same time period, and it was installed in the 80s. And ECI is doing the design, and they're also providing the materials and installing all of it. It's pretty much turnkey with ECI, who's an engineering firm we use often here, and their office is in Woods Cross. And then the UDOT I-15 project, not on that list there is the frontage road. That's probably the biggest portion of this whole thing. Our transmission line crosses right there in Centerville, in front of Young Automotive. We have to move about 8 to 10 poles, 5 of which are steel poles. We'll be actually bringing those steel poles, not tonight, but in 2 weeks to City Council for approval to get those approved. And just to bring up, they will be all of these projects on that list will be reimbursed from UDOT. Anything that UDOT is requiring us to relocate, they're going to reimburse us for that. Engineering, materials, labor, all of it.
Are you doing the engineering in-house and they'll reimburse us, or are you hiring a contractor?
Hiring a contractor. There's a lot of civil engineering stuff going on there, and that's not my world. So, but it's ECI, the same engineering firm in Woods Cross, who we've used several times on our transmission and distribution.
While we've got you up there, we're going to have Jess come and maybe mention the other 2 must-completes that are on our list.
Sorry for being late. Traffic was bad. So our Echo transmission line, as I'm sure all of you are aware, we had the Rocky Canyon fire that burned through roughly 6.5 to 7 miles of transmission line. Those poles, good majority of them are catastrophically damaged. So I know Alan and Gary have had some conversation of what our future plan is moving forward, as far as rebuild, or do we look at this as maybe an opportunity to tap on the Rocky Mountain system and eliminate that liability. So those are conversations that need to be made here in the near future. I know Luke received an email earlier today concerning from the state of what that transmission looks like through state property and what we're going to do about it. So we need to start moving forward with the process of cleanup or get something addressed there. So.
Yeah, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in either case, whether we're going to rebuild or abandon, we probably need to jump on it pretty quickly. And so we're looking at having some recommendations for the Power Commission at within a month, so we can take advantage of the timing. So that'll be taking up a lot of bandwidth of the department in the next few weeks.
Correct.
Thanks.
Yep. I don't think, you said two, Gary. Southwest
Before
substation,
you
I
jump
didn't
to
see
that
it.
one, I think Councilmember Higginson had a question for you
Yeah,
on that.
well, not a question. I just want to clarify that Jess and Luke were not downtown shopping and got here late because of traffic. They were at the UAMPS conference in Logan and left before the closing dinner so that they could be here for this meeting. So anyway, the comment about traffic, it wasn't just that they were out.
So.
Thank you for coming down, and yeah, sorry that the rest of us weren't able to join you at the UAMPS conference.
Thanks for allowing us to go. It was a good conference. So, our Southwest substation was actually supposed to be completed this past May. They've ran into some difficulties with contractor and subcontractors. We got informed there's an issue. Cache Valley Electric is our contractor. They actually let go the subcontractor that was doing the building portion, the actual substation building, and they've hired a new contractor. There was some questions about building integrity, and so they did some x-rays on the building, and there was some critical pieces, bonding piers that were missed in that building construction. And so we got told today that they are actually probably going to tear that building down Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, a week from today, and restart construction on the actual building portion itself. Completion of that Northwest substation with what's going on with the building process is looking probably like the end of November, 1st of December for completion and re-energization. There we go. Re-energize it.
So it's the Northwest, not the Southwest. Is that an error up there?
Northwest.
Oh, my bad. Yes, that's right.
Yes, that is mislabeled.
It's the one behind Viewmont, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
Hang tight. So we're going to jump to, I mean, you don't walk too far away.
Hey, Gary, can we ask any questions as we go or not?
Oh, please,
This is just a really quick question because I think you're going to ask us about the priorities here in a second. I'm trying to understand. Most of those I understand, looking down the list on priority one, and I was curious about some of those, like, for instance, the trail stuff. You know, I know we have contractors who are doing that. So when I see it on the list, it tells me that there's a significant amount of staff time dedicated to the Big Rock hiking, the Kinglet, the Fool's Gold, in addition to the contractors that we have hired to do that. Is that what you're saying, that they're so busy, the Parks Department, doing that they can't do other projects? That's how I'm left to interpret that.
Yeah, in essence, there is no project that the city undertakes that doesn't require staff time. Even when we bring a consultant in or a project manager, we still have to kind of babysit that project manager. There has to be a liaison. So, yeah, all of these require, to a greater or lesser degree, staff time.
Thank you.
I want to point something out that you'll begin to see a pattern too, that many of these projects are 2 or 3 years in length, where there's a design phase of the first year and then a construction phase the second year. So you'll see that repeat a little bit as we get to 2028. Okay, running quickly through priority 2.
Edgehill Drive is a priority storm drain project. That'll be designed in-house. The second project, our 4th North and 5th South pedestrian crossings, we are beginning to tinker on that project with the installation of some conduit for the electrical system, and we've just ordered the materials for those crossings. So that is kind of underway. We are going to bid out the concrete work, which is yet to come, probably the next month or so.
One of the things that we did this last spring is meeting with Serena at the BDAC and making a commitment to come up with a building improvement plan for that building. It's been a number of years now since that building was renovated, and it has some issues. You know, we just replaced the roof, and so this is going to be led by Tyson and working with Serena, and Brock will be heavily involved in building maintenance as well to identify the needs. I'm sure engineering, who has their hands in all of these projects, will also be involved. Public art program, this is purchasing more art for downtown. Wi-Fi installation at Town Square, something IT is working on with Tyson to create not public Wi-Fi, it would be Wi-Fi that we could use for our own events and users like the Coats for Kids car show or the farmers market and things like that. But it's kind of a significant project.
So the vendors would be given like a login if you're selling fruits or sourdough bread to be able to do credit card transactions.
Right.
Cemetery Healing Garden, this would be the second phase of our Cemetery Healing Garden. That's where we have our interments for cremations. We're basically 90% full in the existing first phase. We sold out all our boulders, all our benches, all of those things that tend to go quickest. So this will be our second phase. There is a third phase plan, but it's 5 years, 6 years down the road. Mueller Park field lights and electrical. As many of you are aware or have been talked to by some of our citizens, Mueller Park baseball field lights, that's the large diamond on the north end of Mueller Park, is in serious need of lights. They've been out of service now for 3 or 4 seasons, 4 or 5 seasons. But we need Power's assistance on that. We're going to need a consultant to come in and help us assess what the wiring looks like, what the poles look like. Of course, the light mastheads will have to be replaced. So there's some scoping work to be done on that, along with design. We'll work with consultants on that. The greenhouse construction down in the streets, parks, water, compound, yard, we do have greenhouses that we grow our flowers in. The largest of the 2 is in serious need of the frames being replaced, along with the panels. The frames are pretty well rusted through. Every one of them is either destroyed or seriously compromised. So that's where we stand with the greenhouse, and we're looking to complete that this year.
Brock, a quick question on the design for Mueller Park. Could we get a study on lighting on the lower field too?
As part of this, that could be part of the scoping, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's part of the process we need to go through is we know the main project is to replace what's there, but if we want to expand that, this is a wrap tax project, then we need direction from the council on all that.
It also includes scoreboards. That was brought up in our conversations. Any questions about the trails? Yeah.
Okay, so we hope to get to category.
A few years ago, we installed some storm drain out of a cul-de-sac down on near 3400 South. It just daylights into the curb, and on 800 West, Charles? 800 West. We have a storm drain farther down the hill. So the 3400 South project would extend that storm drain from the cul-de-sac down to 800 West. It's kind of a maintenance issue right now. The 1800 South storm drain would extend a new pipe from 4th East up to about 9th East, where we'd pick up some flows from some side streets and put it into the storm drain. That would eliminate some waterways and make the transition for our plow trucks a little easier onto the side streets.
Pine Street?
I can cover that one. Our Pine Street removal project is a project at the cemetery where we intend to remove one of the existing streets and convert that into plots that can be sold to increase our capacity on the west side of the road before and extend the life of the existing cemetery, just as long as we can, to postpone that move across the street.
I'm reading these and I'm like, oh, that's someone else, but it's me. And we got stuck in that streets thing, so Pine Street got away from me. Insulate and heat the equipment bays. That's up at the golf course. Currently, we're working with a shed up there where we store all of the maintenance equipment that is non-insulated, doesn't have heat, doesn't have anything, so it kind of wears on our equipment pretty heavily. We anticipate to get to that this year and get those bays insulated and heated for winter.
In that conversation and visit we had with Serena in the spring about BDAC, there were a number of smaller items that she identified that needed some help, light fixtures, some baseboard finishing, things like that. That's what this project is. The Park Strip tree replacement program is the money that we've put aside to begin replacing 15 to 20 trees per year or adding 15 to 20 trees per year in the park strips around town to replace the tree canopy. And the Main Street tree replacement program is an idea. It's in the budget, but it's really just an idea of, is there a way in conjunction with the Main Street project that we can slowly replace the trees on Main Street so it doesn't feel like everything's being replaced at once. We honestly don't know what that's going to look like. The power and irrigation stuff that's in Main Street and those trees is going to be a huge mess when we get into it. So we this is a wish list item.
Fort North Park stage improvements, we're looking at a few things there. Primarily, it's the shades on the west side, which would also replace on the east side just to keep them similar and make sure we're keeping up with technology and what's available out there. Those are in bad shape right now. Also include. Sorry,
I just wanted to ask. So those are. It's not adding or changing the shades. It's just swapping out the ones that are there for ones that are not as damaged by the sun, or.
It's probably removing all of them and replacing them with new upgraded technology. Yeah. Okay. Our concern there, and a few things have been said and talked to me by Richard Watson about some safety. Sometimes when that wind blows, those things blow around pretty hard, and if someone happened to be walking by when the wind caught them, we could have some problems with safety concerns. So they're on my watch list, frankly. Also, a couple other things there. We need to assess what's going on with the power. There's been some concerns and conversations about the power at the stage, and then also the lighting there. Fourth North and Main flower beds. We're looking at those flower beds at the intersection where Main Street kind of makes the bend on Fourth North. Those flower beds that are out there in that intersection, it's pretty busy. It's pretty scary for our kids to get out there. We've been in contact, Lloyd's been in contact with UDOT to see what is available to us in terms of their requirements and regulations and what they allow and what they don't allow. So there's some conversations going on with them. We're hoping to get those designed, and then whatever we're allowed to do, bring to the council for approval some ideas, and then get those things constructed.
Gary, quick question. On column 2, we have the 400 North and 5th South pedestrian crossing. I think it was on our last council meeting, we approved some additional safety things on Main Street, the traffic safety. Are they 28 or 29? When will we implement? When are they on the list?
I hope to do those this year.
You just think that's ordinary course and that doesn't have to get onto this list?
We've ordered the materials for those 2 pedestrian crossings, so as soon as we get those, we'll get after it.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's 2027. That's what we're looking at for this fiscal year. 2028, And we'll pick up some speed here for 28,
Mayor,
29.
may I? Before we
Gary,
move
it
on.
looks like we have a question before you move on.
Absolutely.
Sorry, before you move on to the next year, in our packet, Alpha Graphics, the Alpha Graphics site was indicated as an initiative or a project for 2027, and I'm not seeing that on this list.
Oh,
but
thanks
it's
for pointing that out. I
here.
took that off because it's not a capital project per
Oh,
se.
okay.
It's, and that has more to do with deciding what we want to do with the site and seeing if we, find a partner and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's not imminent, and it also doesn't necessarily involve the same department. So still on the radar, just not on the
Okay.
list.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Okay, 2028.
So I noticed some of the things that are, if something is in a 2027 column 2 or column 3 and it doesn't get completed, should we assume then that it would automatically roll to a number 1 for the next fiscal year, or not automatically? Okay.
I wouldn't assume it automatically rolls to a 1. I mean, I think what we're going to end up needing to do is coming back to council and saying, okay, whether that's during the budget process or some other time, and say, is this a priority? And a good example of that might be the, insulating the heat and equipment bays. Is that so important that we need to bump something out of a category 1 to get to it? So it doesn't automatically move anywhere.
Okay, 2028, column 1, 8th East. That's just the continuation of the 8th East reconstruction project. We do need to install some storm drain in that section, so it's a little more complicated. We need some more time to design that one. We will begin the design on the 4th North rebuild. That is a large project. We'll probably chop that in half and do it in 2 phases. So you see phase 1, approximately 4th East to 9th East. There will be some storm drain work in that project. We'll begin the design on that. That's a storm drain project for 400 North. Those two kind of need to go hand in hand. We'll start working a little more earnestly on a specific design for the bulb out on Main Street and the other improvements in 2028. And our Mill Creek Reservoir project should be well underway. We'll be looking at the completion of the first reservoir in 2028 and getting ready to kick off the second reservoir and the booster station that's associated with that project.
Question on the funding for the 2 Mill Creek reservoirs. Does our congressional appropriation, is it specific enough that it's intended to cover both reservoirs, or can we have a second opportunity to ask for federal help?
We have a preliminary award of $1.75 million. That's not nearly enough for the entire project. So
So it's not enough for reservoir 1?
It's not enough reservoir 1. And I want to confine the allocation of that funding to specific components. Knowing what that does to us in the street reconstruction world, when you tie federal dollars to parts of a project, you may tie your hands in the future. So I want to be able to limit the scope of the application of those federal funds to very specific things so that, future city engineers don't take my name in vain.
Thank you. Okay, well, that leaves us open to being able to talk with our federal friends about additional earmarks.
Davis Boulevard Bridge, we're currently underway with design work for some rehabilitation. I expect that to be done just after the first of the year, and we'll go out to bid for a project. We have partial funding in the current fiscal year, but I don't expect that we have enough to actually complete the project, so we'll have to fund the remainder in the upcoming year and complete the construction.
Mueller Park Fields, the park fields and lights. So once we get through the assessment and scoping and design of it this year. We'll get into the construction in 2028. Anticipate that would be completed in that same budget year.
So the theory here is that every year we're going to be designing a project and constructing a project with RAP tax funds. At the same time, we hope to be designing and constructing the replacement of a irrigation system of a park each year. We'll see if we can accomplish all that, but that's the theory.
So the controllers will be done, but the actual pipes and the sprinklers, those will keep phasing for a while.
Yeah, so park irrigation replacement program, Project 1, we're yet to determine which park that actually is, but we'll get into the construction phase of that because we're going to be designing it this year. So that's going to be an abandonment of what's in the ground and just starting over with the hardware, with the pipes, with the wiring, with the heads, with the valves, with the boxes, with the stuff that's actually in the ground. We have several of our parks that are beyond their lifespan, and I mean, it's all we can do just to keep up with the maintenance of those systems now. So that's what that's about. And like Gary said, we're using RAP tax funds to fund those projects.
And then the continuation of the I-15 project, we're kind of, we're at their mercy a little bit on that. So the May complete for 2028.
Deborah Drive is another storm drain project on our list. I would say that the two storm drain projects from 2027 that are in the may complete or may not be completed column may roll down actually in head of Deborah Drive. We'll just have to see what condition things are as we get to 2028.
And the storm drain one, this is one that's probably not typically on the council's radar. They're not exciting, they're not visible, but we worry about them a lot because if we have storm drain issues, it really impacts people's homes. So there's a lot of potential liability, and as you can see, we're trying to be pretty aggressive with the storm drain replacement, but in order to do that, we have to have capacity to design and put those in.
We typically design those in-house.
And then we hire a contractor to put them in.
Wash bay improvements up at the golf course. There is an equipment wash bay that is currently being used. We're finding some issues with the water supply, also the drainage, the concrete underneath that thing, and the structure that covers that is in need of either repair or replacement. We're in the process of assessing what that means for that project. Twin Hollows renovation, that's a complete redo of Twin Hollows Park. You guys know it as Cheese Park. Aside from the pickleball courts and the lighting and that end of the park, those are relatively new and those would be left alone. It would be the south half of that park that would be a complete do-over on that project.
This is the second RAP tax project, so after, I already forgot what the first one was. See?
Mueller Park Baseball?
Mueller Park.
Yeah. Gobbler's Gap is a trail that is it's been planned, it's been flagged. It's the trail that would connect Mueller Park to the top of above Stonebridge. That trail is already brought from from Holbrook Canyon up onto the ridge up there. It's dead-ended currently. Gobbler's Gap would connect those two trails together so that we're now from Ward Canyon all the way over to Summerwood with trails. And then the park irrigation replacement program, that would be the second project in our irrigation redo, just an abandonment of what's in the ground and then start over. That would be a design on the second project. Irrigation.
If I could jump in.
Sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
When would staff like feedback from council on the potential inclusion of a Bountiful Steps idea for Cheese Park?
Whenever you want to give it.
Okay. Just needed to know when to give that feedback.
Well, don't worry, you'll have another opportunity when we come back with the scoping discussion.
Engineering and liability-wise, I have no way in the world to even imagine it being feasible or doable. But I'll defer to my friend Lloyd.
Engineers are pretty amazing people.
Well, they are, but they can't beat Mother Nature or liability attorneys.
Well said, Richard.
And so noted.
The only thumbs down.
Some,
Okay.
no, I think we're bookended by, but we'll look forward to additional thoughts, and I'm sure that the neighborhood will also have theirs.
Super.
Irrigation controller upgrades, that would be a continuation of just the controller themselves beyond the park property. So we have 38 other properties around town that Parks manage that we'll be assessing, and whether they're worthy of a controller or not, we'll assess that and bring that forward later.
Brock, how many roughly are there of these non-park properties that would need controllers?
Properties themselves were roughly 30. Other properties probably consisting of, some of those properties have 2 controllers, so it might be in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 more controllers beyond what we're already planned for.
Thanks.
So buildings like City Hall or the streets, parks, water complex, those make sense. Are other properties like where we have a substation, is that where some of these other controllers would go, or?
Yeah, substations, some properties like our detention basins that are spotted around town. We have park strips that have irrigation in them that just have one small controller, probably not worthy of a $2,500 swap over. The only issue with those is that they would remain standalone, and we've been dealing with that forever, so it's not like it's a change for us.
Okay.
And can I go ahead? And when we're talking about these controllers, just for my own brain, we're talking about sensors and things like that. So like if it's raining, it won't, and if that happens to be the time when they are supposed to normally be on, if they sense the rain, they won't turn on and things like that.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're familiar with the Park Strip and Main Street Tree Replacement Program, and then there's money in the 10-year capital plan to enhance the lighting in Town Square. There were, if you recall, the original design had lighting that would be underneath the edges of the cantilevered.
The sitting wall, retaining walls?
Yeah, the granite, and that was value engineered out. And so that's what the intent of this project would be.
So this is in existing park capital budget versus RAP tax?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then 2029. Oops.
You'll recognize several of those items in category 1 as continuations of previous projects, whether they're streets or water. I think we pretty well covered those.
Yep, I think none of those are new, just different phases, right?
In our retreat in September, will we be going into more detail on how lengthy you think the construction and improvements in Main Street will be? Because if we are, then we don't need to answer that now. If it's not, I'm curious how many fiscal years you think that would stretch out.
It depends.
Okay, sounds like a retreat conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. There's probably multiple ways to do that, and they're going to have different impacts on the businesses. You know, if we string it out, or if we try to hit it all at once. And so, yeah, we'll be talking about it more.
The Twin Hollows Park renovation, this would be our construction year. The 2028 year would be our design year. So this is the construction on that. Maybe, and Gary, I thought about this earlier too, in this year we would probably do the second road. I don't know what the name of it is in the cemetery, tear out and replace with turf and irrigation. So we might want to add that to this year.
Okay, thanks.
Maybe just jumping down to North Canyon Park upgrades, that will be in the design phase on that park this year. There are some concerns rising over the patio area under the pavilion. The pavilion and bathroom structure is good and safe and sound. We don't have any concern there, but there are starting to be some concrete issues and some plant issues and trees along with the irrigation that's inside that patio area that's going to need some looking at. And then also the playground will be due for replacement. And then park irrigation replacement program, this would be the construction year of the second project in that series.
Our storm drain project that's listed as HS, that's Bountiful High. We get a lot of runoff that comes out of the parking lot at Bountiful High, and we want to redirect that back to the creek if possible. That'll take some coordination with the school district. More storm drain work on 300 South. This is up above Davis Boulevard where we have some capacity issues in big storms. Our Ashley Detention Pond is one of our upper detention facilities. It's kind of in a tough spot, and it's going to be due for some maintenance work.
And I think there are two new potential projects that are listed on our 2029 CIP.
The driving range renovation project is an idea that the golf course has to add some simulators in the basement. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been talking with staff up there and trying to figure out what to do with that building during the winter time to generate some revenue, at least to cover our costs that go out in the winter. And so that's an idea we're looking at. We're still looking at some scoping on that and possibly what that means for that downstairs area and renovating and upgrading and whatever it involves there. So lots to do on that one. The 48-unit columbarium, we anticipate that we'll be through the majority of our current inventory at the cemetery in the healing garden area, and so that would be an addition into the second phase of the healing garden.
I have a comment on that one. If again, this is just asking, so we have that driving range renovation. If we want to go broader than that and do more than that, how do we get it on the list?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have, we're planning, I think, I got an email that we want to talk about golf course and revenues in an upcoming meeting, so.
Is that a retreat or is that another meeting? I'm just asking.
Just depends on how quickly you want to get to it. It won't probably be at the fall retreat because we have that planned to talk about downtown and Orchard Drive. And so if you want to talk about it before the spring retreat, we just need to get it on a work session. So maybe you and I can talk offline, Dan, about timing.
Mayor, do you have feelings about that? Is that what you would suggest?
Yeah, I did, in some of that email correspondence, suggest that I didn't think it would fit based on the agenda in the mini fall retreat because we'll be road tripping up to see our power resources up at Echo. But that we could work it in probably as we start looking at fall winter work sessions, and if not, then January. There was a suggestion about whether we needed to go golf to experience it or repeat our dining experience that could be worked in.
This is just a comment. There's a lot of things that have to be done in the city, and this is a great list, and we'll probably get to what you want to do next, but there's very few direct revenue producing assets. This falls under economic development, probably. And the golf course, in my view, and the council is well aware of my views on this, that there is more potential there, and that's beyond a driving range renovation. So I am very interested in revenue-producing assets that we can actually capitalize on versus all the other things we just have to maintain. So whenever that's appropriate work session, I'm very interested in that, and if the council, hopefully that's something they would be interested in too.
Great. Yeah, we can talk more and get something scheduled at a time that works for everybody.
I have a quick question for Brock.
Sure.
What is columbarium?
It's the locker style walls and
thank you.
Yeah, that they put the ashes of their loved ones in.
Okay, thank you. I did not know that word. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes.
So, council, the intent of this conversation was twofold. I think first was to maybe put all of the projects that we currently have contemplated in front of you, and it was a really good exercise for staff too, to see everything in one place. And And if it made your mouth dry a little bit, it definitely has done that to us. The second part of this is there are a few things that are more frustrating that we want to avoid more than making commitments that we can't keep. And we would not like to put you in a position as the city council or us in a position as staff to give anybody the impression that we could do, A to Z when we only have capacity to do A to F. And I think what this represents is what we feel like we absolutely can complete, what we also believe we could put in, but it assumes that we don't have many new things, and really any new things that are going to be added to the list. And that's the rub, right? Is none of us control what the next big priority is going to be or opportunity. Sometimes properties become available or whatever it may be. And so we'll probably need to revisit this on a regular basis, but we didn't want anybody to be frustrated by a project not getting completed, and we need your help to prioritize.
Gary, I have an overall staffing structure question, and when you think it might be an appropriate time to raise and have that, and perhaps it's at our, it got lighter.
Thank you.
When it would be appropriate to raise that, maybe it's our January kind of budget planning retreat. Having sat through a couple of these over the years, it's really interesting to learn how many of the projects have to pass through engineering, and that it's a small but very important department. And sometimes we're going to be constrained because of the costs to do the project, but sometimes maybe it's that we're constrained by the ability to oversee or design the project. So what are your thoughts or feedback on when it would be appropriate to discuss whether it's time for the engineering department to grow by another FTE? And if so, is there a particular specialty within engineering that would, whether it's mechanical or civil or electrical, that helps us make sure that the sticking point isn't, internal here, so that then we have the discussion about whether it's the proper use of tax dollars or capital dollars to then do the actual project.
So I think the appropriate time is probably the retreat, and as we roll into the budget. This all assumes no tax increase, right? So we want to have a staffing conversation at the same time we want to have a conversation about property tax increase, because they have to go together.
Because I don't think we expect that our staff is going to eat, sleep, and drink. They occasionally get to go home. They get to have weekends and other things. But just wanting to make sure that we have that staffing discussion part of it too. If it's time for us to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's right there aren't that many options. It's either more resources or it's lower expectations. So.
Councilmembers, any other pieces of feedback that you'd want to share on globally or on specific items?
I do. I would only alter that statement a little bit as to say, as rather than lower expectations, maybe we could explore delaying expectations.
Yeah, I think that's probably more appropriate than lowering expectations. It is drawing out. It is being more comfortable with things taking longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
But hopefully the opportunity cost we could catch up if we did feel that was appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question. So talking about we don't ever know what the next emergency is going to be. I'm wondering about this echo transmission line. How much does what we discover or what we decide to do about that, how much does that increase or hinder our ability to do the things on the May complete list?
Very little of what you see here would be impacted by that, because it's the power department funds and staffing and resources that would be impacted. What that would do would be to readjust all of the power department's capital plans. One area that it could impact would be, though, something like the Main Street project, for example, where they're going to be heavily involved with the design and implementation of that. So most of the others, though, wouldn't really be affected by that. Is that fair to say, Luke and Jess?
Any additional questions, comments?
One, if I
I've got a
could.
comment, but you go ahead, Richard.
After you.
Oh, well, I'm
Please.
happy to wait. Thank you. Very helpful. It's a little bit jaw-dropping to see all that is out there in the pipeline. I don't think my own expectations are that staff, somebody's already mentioned that we'll work around the clock to do some whatever this list is. I'm quite interested in what the mayor has proposed about resources, additional resources, and what's required. I'm not yet, although I've been giving advice from some of my fellow councilmen to temper my expectations. I haven't learned yet to do that. I come from a different world, and trying to figure out what's an appropriate timeline for things to get done. Candidly, I'm discouraged about a budget we just passed, that all of these things you're telling us now may not be able to get done. That's discouraging to me that we passed a budget with all that in there, and it seems like we ought to have been a little bit more clear on what we really can do rather than budgeting and I don't know how much we're over budgeted based on things we can't do. Again, my background, and that's obviously factors into that as I look at the finances and try to understand what we've passed, and so anyway, but I am grateful for all that the effort and the staff does and that you do, the administration here, and so thank you and helping to open my eyes a little bit.
Councilmember Higginson, it looked like you had a comment you wanted to share next.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on with another project, but I wondered, it wasn't on the list, wondered where we stand on the Bamberger Bridge to at-grade intersection transformation.
Yeah, and that's not on the list only because it's not our project, but it doesn't mean we're not spending time on it. Lloyd, do you want to give an update?
Yeah, in the last month, I've had a couple of Zoom calls with UDOT's team on that project. They're starting with some design concepts, and it is moving forward, but it is taking a little bit of time for our involvement at this point.
But there's no risk that they're going to move to take the bridge down before this process comes to completion?
I don't believe so. I mean, they've got a pretty aggressive schedule. They expect construction in about a year.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Mayor.
Any additional thoughts, comments, questions? So I think staff is going to take from our discussion that we are largely okay with the way they've slotted these into columns 1, 2, and 3. I will only offer one thought, that I think the 4th North and 5th South pedestrian crossings are a big priority after some of the traffic safety experiences we've had. So that would be one that I would move from column 2 to column 1. And if it didn't make it through in 2027, I would make it a high priority in fiscal year 28.
And while you're on that, this is just a question, why can't we swap out the Orchard Drive study, move that one over, and move the 400 North and 5th South pedestrian crossing? I'm not sure why the Orchard Drive is I know what the study is. I don't know why it's so significant that it would delay other things that seem to be pretty important, like that one the mayor's mentioned.
And then we probably have to turn back to the council a little bit on that, but here's the thinking on Orchard Drive, the Orchard Drive study. We've had 1 or 2 applications for projects on Orchard Drive that the Planning Commission has declined to move forward with a recommendation on because the general plan suggests we need different land use code. And that can't happen until there's a study done on Orchard Drive about what you want. So development is being delayed until the council, until you all know what you want Orchard Drive to look like and make the code changes. That's why it's a priority one. It doesn't have to be, but that's why we put it there.
And I think you'd mentioned once informally to me that you're waiting for a little bit more concrete direction from the council on that Orchard Drive, which could take a little time to get to that.
Yeah, and it's on the schedule for discussion at the fall retreat to get that direction.
Thanks.
Any additional comments on the prioritization or individual projects?
I do have one, and that's the 400 North Park stage improvement, that the shade. To me, that's a pretty big priority, as it's so deeply, it's so used so often, and it does concern me that that's going to fly off and hit somebody, or yeah, I would suggest moving that one up if we at all can.
So Brock, we had we should go back to the mayor's suggestion too. We'd had a conversation. I guess we would then move the greenhouse construction to 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. And then if we moved 4th North and 5th South pedestrian crossings, council, which similar project would you put in the may complete category from category 1?
I think you're looking at other options within the park space, so that's probably public art, cemetery, healing garden. I don't know if that one's if they're different enough, or the greenhouse, or the Mueller Park.
Yeah, it's something
lights.
that engineering would be heavily involved in, so it's probably, and I'm sorry these aren't color coded. I couldn't, as much as I love spreadsheets, I couldn't figure out how to make the colors change from one to another. But Maple Ridge Drive, 800 East, Main Street Bulbouts, Mill Creek Reservoir, potentially Orchard Drive City, although Francisco's going to be heavily involved in that. Landfill, stormwater basin.
Sorry, so you were saying the stage is fairly engineering heavy?
Not the stage.
Oh.
The 4th North and 5th South.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought we were
pedestrian crossings.
I thought we were on the stage swap.
Gary, would it be fair to say that we'll have another chance to weigh in on this at the retreat a little bit, if we had?
We can. We weren't. I mean,
very briefly.
Yeah, we certainly can.
We get copies of these to kind of ponder. Now, it's really helpful to know your priorities. This massive list that we got before, it was really, I couldn't figure out which one's really important, because it's really helpful to know what's important to you.
We really intended that today would be the beginning of a discussion, not necessarily the end of the discussion.
If we could get a copy of this, that'd be appreciated.
Okay.
After you've edited it.
Okay. Councilmembers, is everyone comfortable with that? Everyone can mark up and play Tetris with the priorities.
Yes, we realize this is fairly sobering. We're glad that you can appreciate that. We just want to prioritize our resources in the way that you want us to prioritize them. So,
Mayor, may I make one request?
Yes.
For when we do receive that list, I made some notes on mine, but could we just have like maybe a 1-sentence description of each of the proposed items, just so we can jog our memory? That would be helpful.
You bet.
Okay. If there's no other questions, then we'll go ahead and adjourn our work session, and then in a few minutes restart for our regular council meeting. Thank you.